Salute! I don't know what that was. Jon Savage here. Okay, this one, I get a lot of, I know I said at the beginning of every show, but that's because I'm actually trying to respond to questions that you're asking. What should my podcast be about? Okay, this is obviously an open-ended question. It's like saying, what color should my t-shirt be? The interesting thing about podcasts is there is no format, there is no style, there is no length requirements. It can be a minute every day, it can be 5 minutes every day. I have podcasts that I actually really love that are 2 hours and they come out every single day and I have to find time to go through them for 2 hours. So there is no length that is required, but basically depending on you, the audience. And also what's beautiful about podcasts is from an analytics perspective, you can study the analytics of your show and figure out how at what point people are tuning out. So if you're doing a 40-minute podcast and you're looking at the analytics and seeing people are tuning out after 22 minutes, then you make your podcast 22 minutes. So that's what's really nice about it. It can be longer and shorter. One of the things we try to do with the podcast that we create is to say, look, when it feels like it's over, it's over. If it starts getting boring, one of the problems, if you've done a lot of interviews before, if you decide that your interviews are going to be an hour and you're struggling with the interview and it's 20 minutes in, then you've got another 40 minutes to wade through. So your interview can be 5 minutes. If it's a powerful 5 minutes, then great. But if someone is talking for 35 minutes or 2 hours, let them be. But you need to feel either in the editing room or during the, let's say it's an interview podcast process, when it is no longer exciting and then you just, I'm done. Like, just kill it. Be brutal. Think about your audience. Don't waste their time. Make everything valuable. Podcasts that do best are the things that add value to your life. So comedy does really well. News does really well. Information does really well. What should it be about? It depends on you. So one of the things you shouldn't be doing is sort of looking at trends of podcasting and then trying to fit in. One of the things about podcasting is that it kind of takes a lot of energy, and consistency is the key point. In other words, you need to survive 3 months, 6 months, 8 months of podcasting. You can't just do 5 episodes and then say, I'm done. So you need a topic that is going to run a very, very long time and keep you interested. So it needs to be something you're passionate about. It doesn't have to be broad. The more general, the more specific, the better. Podcasts that do really well are ones that are very specific. One of the absolute sort of monoliths of podcasting, there's now like a multi-million-dollar empire, is My Dad Wrote a Porno. These kids found a sort of adult novel that their dad had written when he was 19. They started reading pages of it out on the podcast and teasing them, and that's become a massive thing. So make sure it's something you're really passionate about. In fact, the more kind of niche, the better. One of the interesting sort of things in podcasting is there are a few exceptions. Guys like Mac G are getting these mass broad audiences, but actually the real success, he's like 1 in a million, 1 in a bajillion. But the real podcasts that are doing well, that are finding niches, so like a particular style of skateboarding or a particular kind of fly fishing, because there are big audiences of, let's say, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people around the world that are very much interested in that particular niche, skateboarding or those kind of fishing rods. And it does a few things. It really targets your audience. If you're interested in that kind of skateboarding, there's very little content out there, so you become an authority in that particular void. And then also brands who are looking to sponsor your podcast, rather than putting it in a fly fishing magazine and reaching everybody, they now know that the 5,000 people on your podcast, or the 5,000 people are going to buy their fishing rods. It's a much more sexy appeal for a brand that wants to get involved. So keep your podcast about what you're interested in. Keep them as more niche as possible. Don't try to do a broad, like let's interview the big stars thing. It's already oversaturated, unless that's what you're passionate about. If you think you are the gift to interviewing celebrities, but I mean, this is a very competitive space if you're going to do that. And you can't just rely on the celebrities to bring you those audiences. So find something that just really interests you. You and your mate talking about solar power. That would actually do really well. If you did a solar power podcast, you do really, really well. Yeah, that's pretty much the answer. The answer is there's no answer. Make sure it has a long tail. That's really important, so that you can create a year's worth of episodes, that you're genuinely passionate about it, because after 3 months, you only have 17 listeners, you're going to start losing faith. It has to be something that you want to continue talking about. And 3, just go wild. Make it particularly niche, not too broad. That's my answer. Please feel free to leave some comments below. Follow me on Instagram or TikTok. If you want to book me, I'm doing paid 1-hour sessions, really more for corporates, not for new podcasters. But if you want to spend the money, you can. It's everything you need to know about podcasting. You can book me through the website or my biog. And that's me done. Bye.
Oh, madness, my friend.